Tim.
Hey everyone, so tonight we're going to present to you or talk to you about a very important topic, but we're here in the comfort of Raquel and Javier's home. We're going to have a very casual conversation, right, Raquel? It's going to be just informational, educational, it's very informal. We're not doing any type of professional video. We just want to really inform the people of something very important that just occurred yesterday that President Trump signed this into order, which was
It was the stimulus bill, so the 2 trillion economic relief plan that will offer assistance to tens of millions of American households affected by the coronavirus pandemic.
now, the information we're going to share with you, it's not something that we came up with, it's not our own opinion. We are referencing and we're going to use a lot of reference from the New York Times. We Googled a lot of good concrete information that's solid, confirmed. We went into different government websites, legislation to get you the most up-to-date and accurate information, right? So Raquel just said it's a two trillion dollar package, and the very first question is the payments, right? Raquel, how large will these payments be? So you can just explain a little bit there.
So the payments will be, I have to do this again. So most adults will get $1,200, although some would get less, for every qualifying child under the age of 16 or 16 and under. There will be an additional payment of $500. So it would be the $1,200 for the adult, and then per child under the age of 16 would be an additional $500 per child.
Now, this is not a monthly recurring annually payment. It's a one-time payment that the government is giving to assist American families, right?
Yes.
But the bill, the legislation could change it in the future to maybe provide more aid, correct?
Exactly.
Right. So then in regards to the actual payments that are gonna be made, it will depend on the income, correct?
Correct.
So every single adult or joint adult who has a social security number, right, in the United States, who have an adjusted gross income of $75,000 or less will get the full amount. It is $1,200 for an individual. If you're joint, if you file joint or married together your income taxes and you earn less than $150,000, you will get $2,400.
Exactly.
That's the way it is written. That is the way the legislation serves. However, if I'm filing individually and I surpass the threshold of $75,000 and I earn, let's say, $86,000, but I am listed as head of household, I will still qualify for the $1,200 if I make less than $112,500 a year.
Yes.
That's correct? Okay.
Correct.
So it's very important to know this information, okay? It's very important to understand what the legislation means and how it is written. Excuse me. Above the, and I don't have coronavirus, I was just clearing my throat, okay?
We'll cut that out.
We'll cut that out. So above those income figures, the payment decreases until it stops altogether for single people earning $99,000 or married people who have no children earning $198,000. This is a very interesting part. Okay, so the threshold is $75,000, right?
Yes.
And let's say I make a little bit over that, they will deduct $5 for every $100 I make.
Okay.
But if I'm earning more than $99,000 a year, I just won't qualify for anything.
Exactly.
So if I earn $80,000 and the threshold is $75,000, they will deduct $5 for each 100, equaling this $5,000. So you have to understand the math to be able to know how much you're going to get back. There's actually a website, I forgot the link, or I would mention it, where you can go in there and
When
calculate.
we find it, we'll go in and we'll put it in the comments.
There is a website with the link that you can actually calculate your own figures, how much you're getting back. But anyhow, you have more information.
So, you can get a payment if somebody claims you as a dependent, even if you're an adult. So in any given family, in most cases, everybody must have a valid social security number in order to be eligible. But there are the exception for members of the military. So even if you do not have a social security number and you are a member of the military, you will still be eligible for this type of financial aid in essence.
Now, for those that say, well, I have my income tax, where do I look to see what my adjusted gross income is? Very important to understand that in the 1040 federal tax return, if you file a tax and you want to see your adjusted gross income, it is on line 8B of the 2019 1040 federal tax return. Very important to know that information. So the question always comes up, Raquel, do college students get anything?
Let me find that part because I don't have that here.
Well, not if anyone claims them, him or she, as a dependent on a tax return. Usually students under the age of 24 are dependent in the eyes of the taxing authorities if a parent pays for at least half of their expenses. So in all reality, generally speaking, it's no.
It's a no.
It's a no. Okay, so the question, Raquel, also is what year's income should people be looking for?
Your 2019 income. So if you haven't prepared a tax return yet, you can use your 2018 return. If you haven't filed that yet, you can use the 2019 Social Security statement showing your income to see what an employer reported to the IRS.
So what if the recent income made the person ineligible and they anticipate being eligible because of a loss of income in 2020? Meaning, for example, in 2019, I earned $99,000, right? But in 2020, I'm gonna earn 68,000, which is gonna put me in the bracket to be able to receive that amount. The question is, do they get payment?
No, they do not. The plan does not help people under that circumstances for now, but you may benefit once you file your 2020 taxes. That's because a payment is technically in advance on tax credit that is available for the entire year, so it will depend on how much you earn.
So like we mentioned, there are many provisions within legislation that they might change, right?
Yes.
Like a couple of days, weeks, months from now, they
We
may,
don't
well,
know.
we're gonna change it, now we're gonna, add this qualification or requirement. So, but as of right now, the answer will be no. So you may be able to file for unemployment or for one of the new loans for small business owners or sole proprietors, if and when, like I said, you fall within the requirements. That can change, so keep an eye out for that. So, will I have to apply to receive payment? That is the question.
No. So if the Internal Revenue Service already has your bank account information, it will transfer the money to you via direct deposit based on recent income tax figures it already has. So whatever you guys put on the information for your tax return, the bank account information for direct deposit, that is where these funds will be directly deposited to. And again, it's anywhere within the next 3 weeks. They said it'll take about 2 weeks, so 3 weeks.
So there's nothing people need to do. They're already registered, they have a bank account, it's a
Exactly.
direct deposit, we're done, right?
Exactly.
And as I just heard you correctly, they're anticipating that within the next 3 weeks,
Exactly.
payments will be distributed, so keep an eye out for that, it's very important. Now, so you may ask, well, what if my payment doesn't come through or come soon? How can I be sure it wasn't misdirected? Well, according to the legislation, the bill, you will get a paper notice in the mail no later than a few weeks after your payment has been dispersed. So Raquel, if they say they sent you your payment 3 weeks ago, they're gonna send you a follow-up letter saying, Ms. Hasso, we gave you direct deposit of $1,200 on this date. It was sent to this bank account. That way you can have track record of that. So the notice will contain information about where the payment ended up and in what form it was made. If you couldn't locate the payment at that point, it would be time to contact the IRS using the information on the notice to say, hey, I never received it. Okay.
It says here that it went here.
Yeah.
Can somebody please help me figure out where it is? So what if I haven't filed tax returns recently? Will that affect my ability to receive payment? It could. So go ahead and file your tax return immediately, at least for 2018, according to the IRS website. Those without 2018 tax filings on record could potentially affect mailings of the stimulus checks. This is what the site says. So if you haven't filed your taxes, file your taxes.
And then those people, Raquel, that are worried, like, I owe money. I owe money back, taxes from 2018, 2019, and what we're just recommending, you need to consult a tax professional.
Exactly.
Don't call us, don't ask us questions, because that's
We're not tax professionals.
that's a
We
lawyer,
cannot answer
tax
that.
professional that needs to help you to request an alternative payment plan or some other resolution for those that owe back taxes, right?
Exactly.
So, Raquel, question for you. Will most people who are receiving Social Security retirement and disability payments each month also get a stimulus payment?
Yes, they will.
That is the answer is yes. There's no need to argue, no more information. It is yes. You're receiving Social Security and you fall within the brackets requirement, you will get a payment as well. The next question is, will eligible unemployed people get these stimulus payments as well? And how about veterans?
Yes to both of those. Yes to the eligible unemployed people and yes to the veterans.
So for those of you who are veterans who are wondering, yes, the answer is that you will get financial assistance as well. Now, how about U.S. citizens that are living abroad? For example, I filed taxes in 2019, but now I'm living in Costa Rica. Just choosing an example, am I eligible for payment?
Yes, as long as you meet the requirements, the income requirements that we mentioned previously, and you have a Social Security number, then yes, you will be eligible and be receiving a stimulus check.
So if I get payment, Raquel, I qualify for $1,200. Is that tax-free, or will I have to pay taxes on that
It
as
is
well?
tax-free.
It is tax-free, so you don't have to claim it or pay taxes on that, which is a great thing, okay? Now, the last thing before we go into unemployment benefits, which is very important. So if my income tax return tax refunds are currently being garnished because of a student loan default. Will this payment be garnished as well?
No, because as per this bill, it temporarily suspends nearly all efforts to garnish tax refunds to repay debts, including those to the IRS itself. But this waiver may not apply to people who are behind on child support.
So it's
It's
separate.
like a yes and a no.
Yeah,
It just
so,
depends
yeah,
under your
correct,
circumstances.
but yeah, so read into that, you have to be very well informed. So, that was just the basic information, the frequently asked questions regarding the bill, the stimulus package that just was signed into effect yesterday by President Trump. Very basic, you should read more into it, get educated, get informed, know where you qualify, know your requirements, know what you have to do, and, you know, to be able to receive the benefits. So, unemployment benefits, which is very important. So who will be covered under the expanded program? Sorry.
So the plan wraps in for far more workers than are usually eligible for unemployment benefits, including self-employed people and part-time workers. So the bottom line is those who are unemployed or are partly unemployed or cannot work for a variety of coronavirus-related reasons will be more likely to receive benefits than they typically would be.
So to make it very short, because it's a lot of information, they've extended it 13 weeks in California. Okay, so instead of being 26 weeks of unemployment benefits, now it's 39 weeks. And they've actually added an additional $600 weekly to that benefit. So in California, it's $450, right, weekly. They've added 600 into that, which is now going to be 1,050. So if you do 1,050 weekly times, you know, 4, whatever the case may be, we're talking about 2,000 something dollars that are going to be a benefit, or probably even more, right? So it all depends. It all depends what you qualify for. We're just giving an example. So under the plan, eligible workers will get an extra $600 per week on top of their state benefit. But some states are more generous than others, as we know. I'm just going to briefly share that in Alabama is $275, that's a benefit. In California, it's $450. But in New Jersey, New York is $713. So it depends on the state you're in. But you just need to know they've extended it 13 weeks and they've added $600 in additional to the benefits that we have already. So, in continuing with that, what if I'm a part-time worker who lost my job because of a coronavirus reason, but my state, California, doesn't cover part-time workers? Am I still eligible?
Yes, part-time workers are eligible for benefits, but the benefit amount and how long the benefits will last depend on your state. So they are also eligible for the additional $600 weekly benefit. So again, it does go back to your state and what your state has agreed to, but you are still eligible for those additional $600 weekly benefit.
And how about those people that say, hey, I was diagnosed with the virus, or I have to take care of a family member who has a virus, you know, what happens then?
So if you've received diagnosis or experiencing symptoms or are seeking diagnosis and you're unemployed, part-time unemployed or cannot work as a result, you will be covered. The same goes if you have to care for a member of your family or household who has received a diagnosis.
So that's very important to know, because they're also eligible for some type of benefit under the employment plan. So a lot of you are single parents or parents who use childcare, daycare for the children to go to work. So what if my child's school or daycare shuts down? Well, if you rely on a school, a daycare, or another facility to care for a child, an elderly parent, or another household member so that you can work, and that facility has been shut down because of the coronavirus, you are eligible to receive the benefit as well. Okay? So what if I've been advised by a healthcare provider to quarantine myself because of exposure to coronavirus? And what about broader orders to stay home? What happens then, Raquel?
People who must self-quarantine are covered. The legislation also says that individuals who are unable to work because of the quarantine imposed as a result of the outbreak are also eligible. So for example, I was about to start a new job and now can't get there because of an outbreak. You are eligible for benefits. You will also be covered immediately, laid off from the new job, and did not have sufficient work history to qualify for benefits under normal circumstances.
So again, there's a lot of provisions, a lot of restriction requirements, a lot of detailed information of what entails unemployment benefits. For example, if you quit your job, if you had to quit your job as a direct result of coronavirus, will you be eligible to apply for benefits? Well, it depends. Let's say your employer didn't lay you off, but you had to quit because of a quarantine recommended by a healthcare provider, or because your child's daycare is closed and you're the primary caregiver. Situations like that are covered. However, the provision wasn't intended to cover people who quit or who want to quit because they fear that continuing to work puts them at risk of contracting coronavirus according to the congressional age. So if you say, hey, I'm just concerned, I'm afraid that I'm gonna get the virus, and you quit, you're not covered, right? You're not covered.
So my employer shut down my workplace because of the coronavirus. Am I eligible? Yes. If you are unemployed, partly employed, or unable to work because your employer closed down, you are covered under the bill.
Okay, that couldn't be more clear than that. Again, read the legislation, read the bill. It details everything that we need to know, whoever covers. So the breadwinner of my household has died as a result of coronavirus. I relied on that person for income, and I'm not working. Is that covered?
Yes.
That is a yes. We know a lot of people who are extremely ill ICU, people who have passed away. Okay, so whom does the bill leave out? Well, the workers who are able to work from home and those receiving paid sick leave or paid family leave are not covered.
Mm-hmm.
So Raquel, if you have a saying, hey Raquel, you can work from home, your employer tells you, or you have sick paid or vacation paid, or you have family leave that you can take, you need to take all that, you're not covered under unemployment benefits.
Mm-hmm.
New entrants to the workforce who cannot find jobs are also ineligible for the unemployment benefits.
Mm-hmm.
So we already covered this. They've added 13 weeks to the 26 weeks, giving us 39 weeks of total benefits, and added $600 to the actual benefits depending on which state you are in. Okay, so you're already receiving unemployment benefits, Raquel. Will you receive any help?
Yes, even if you're already receiving unemployment benefits, for reasons unrelated to the coronavirus, your state level benefits will be extended by 13 weeks. You'll also receive the extra $600 weekly benefit from the federal government. So whatever you're getting for your unemployment benefits, plus the additional $600.
And the question is, and actually my brother-in-law was one of these, like he says, hey, my unemployment ended already, now I can't find a job. Well, yes, if you've exhausted your benefits, eligible workers can generally reapply. But how much you get and for how long depends on the state where you work. California, everyone gets at least another 13 weeks along with an extra $600 payment. So they're saying here, you need to reapply in order for you to take benefit of these 13 weeks and $600 additional. Okay, so will this income disqualify me from any other programs? Maybe.
The additional $600 benefits count as income when determining eligibility for means-tested programs, except Medicaid and Children's Health Insurance Program, also known as CHIP.
What this means is that they probably haven't determined, right, how it's going to affect it.
We'll have to just kind of wait and see.
You have to wait and see what the new regulation comes up or any update. So how long will I need to wait for benefits? The states have been incentivized to waive the 1 week waiting period. As everybody knows, when you apply for unemployment, they have like a 1 week lag time before you get benefits. They waived that during this crisis. But it's unclear how long it will take to process a claim, especially with state offices so strained by a flood of them. So now,
Okay.
do you have something to add? No?
No.
We're good? So
did we cover this in the other one?
I don't think we did, but it's very important. Just really quick, we could talk about student loans. A lot of people have student loans, and the federal government has already waived 2 months of payments for student loans and interest from any federal student loan borrowers. Is there a bigger break now with the new bill?
Yes, so until September 30th, there will be automatic payment suspension for any student loan held by the federal government. It's hard to contact any of the loan services right now, so check your account online in the coming weeks. Once you're logged in, look for the current amount. You go ahead and scroll down. Oh, for the current amount due. There you should be able to see if the servicer has reset its billing systems so that you are showing no payment due.
So then the government, with this, I said, hey, we're going to wait 2 months, right? So then all these providers, the loans offices should have already extended automatically, right? But they're saying, look into it to make sure they have, So now since we're already at the end, it's a lot of information. There's one important information that we discussed in Spanish we should discuss right now is 401k and savings, retirement accounts and all that important stuff. Now, we are not financial experts. We are not giving our own opinion. This is just information that was included as a provision for retirement accounts.
And it's all coming from the New York Times. This is what we're referencing to, we're referencing to the New York Times in addition to other things that we have found on there. I gotta say that all over.
No, you're absolutely fine. So, which retirement account rules are suspended? Well, for the calendar year 2020, no one will have to take a required minimum distribution from any individual retirement accounts or workplace retirement savings plans like a 401k. That way, you aren't forced to sell investments that may have fallen in value, which will lock in losses. If you don't need the money now, you can let the investment sit and hope that they recover. This change will not affect old-fashioned pensions, right? So, but maybe you can talk a little bit about this, where it says, what if I have to take money out of my IRA or work pre-retirement plan early?
You can withdraw up to 100,000 this year without the usual 10% penalty, as long as it's because of the outbreak. You'll also be able to spread out any income taxes that you owe over 3 years from the date that you took the distribution. And if you want, you could put the money back into the account before those 3 years are up, even though the rules may normally keep you from making a contribution that large. This exception applies only to coronavirus related withdrawals. You qualify if tested positive, a spouse or dependent, you experience a variety of other negative economic consequences related to the pandemic. Employers can allow workers to self-certify that they are qualified to pull from a workplace retirement account.
So this is very detailed, and you need to understand this if you're into the whole retirement savings 401k. But the last question here is, can I still borrow from my 401k or other workplace retirement plan? The question is yes. And you can't take out twice the usual amount. For 180 days after the bill passes, with certification that you've been affected by the pandemic, you'll be able to take out a loan up to $100,000. Usually, you can't take out more than half your balance, but that rule is suspended due to this crisis pandemic. So listen again. Usually, you cannot take out more than half your balance from your 401k or other retirement plan, but that rule is suspended as of right now. If you already have a loan and we're supposed to finish repaying it by December 31st, you get an extra year. So now, Raquel, again, I'm gonna reiterate, we're not financial experts, we're not, legal attorneys, we're not, 401k retirement plan advisors. However, our friends like Jenna Herrera, our friends like Jason Hirsch with Thriving, Jenna Herrera with WFG, with the Revolution, our friends, for example, like Martin Cortez from People Helping People, they can help, individuals with these questions. So if you have questions, please type them in at the bottom of the page. We can refer you to, like our friends, like I said, at WFG Revolution, at People Helping People, at Thriving Financial. Those are your financial experts that they can help you, okay? So the last one here, charitable contributions. So I want to help people who are suffering from the pandemic, Raquel. Does the bill do anything about charitable donations?
Yes. So the bill makes a new deduction available, and not just for 2020, for up to 300 in annual charitable contributions. It's available only to people who do not itemize their deductions, and you calculate this new one by subtracting the amount you give from your gross income.
This is very interesting, charitable donations. So then one other important thing here is people are concerned about the credit. Will there be damage to my credit report if I take advantage of any virus-related payment relief? For example, if I say, hey, I want to take payments, or I can't pay my rent, I can't pay my credit card, I'm taking a deferment on my car loan, all this other stuff, is it going to damage my credit, including student loan suspension?
No. So there is not supposed to be at least. So the bill states that during the period beginning on January 31st, continuing 120 days after the cessation. 120 days after the cessation of the National Emergency Declaration, lenders and others should mark your credit file as current, even if you avail yourself of payment modifications.
So they've been instructed that they need to mark it as current, regardless if you get deferments or one-off modifications to your payments. So you should not worry about that. But it says at least they're not supposed to be. So I'm sure there's going to be some companies who will give you a negative hit, but you can probably rectify that. So. Okay, so like I said, we just gave everybody like a quick crash course on information, right? The basic information on what the stimulus package means, the financial support and help they're gonna give, unemployment benefits, charitable contributions, 401k, a lot of good information that everybody should be educated on and informed. Like I said, these were not our opinion. These are not our conclusions or assumptions.
It's all referenced from the New York Times.
It's referenced New York Times, some other legislation, reform, federal guidelines. But if you have any questions, like I said, type them up.
Leave them in the comments, and we'll do our best to try to find an answer for you, either within this article from the New York Times or other references coming directly from the government. And
Well, thank you, everybody.